Yeah, it's already going red. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome again to another wonderful edition of the world-famous Rich Wilson Show. I'm Rich Wilson, and you're not. Ha! Anyway, folks, we have got a lot on the docket today. Kind of stick with us here, and we're gonna roll through this, and we're gonna try to make this as easy to explain as humanly possible. And once again, if you see me looking down to the right, because I'm using OBS, you know that down on the right corner is where the little how much you're streaming is going, and I've been having a lot of problems with this, so I'm going to try to compensate for that as best as humanly possible. But anyway, folks, while you're watching the show, make sure that you click that subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications. That way, every time I pop up, you'll see. And make sure you like this video to set up your algorithms. And also, by the way, there might be some banging and stuff like that going on in the background. The house is under renovation. So anyway, do that, and then make sure you share this, especially tonight. Tonight is definitely going to be interesting. So what do you say we get this show started, shall we? So, folks, tonight, first of all, let's talk about the breaking news. It happened today, this afternoon. SCOTUS blocks the OSHA mandate. That's right, SCOTUS, our wonderful Supreme Court of the United States. For those of you who don't know what SCOTUS means, SCOTUS blocked the mandate for the standard businesses. However, they did leave in place the mandate for the healthcare workers, which that's understandable about the healthcare workers. I kind of get that. It's a different situation, but for everybody else, it wasn't okay. It was unconstitutional, and the Supreme Court ruled that. So let's go into it, and let's talk about a little bit of the overview of it, because I can give you a much in-depth breakdown having a constitutional law degree, but that would bore you, and you'd probably end up being more entertained by paint drying, and I don't really want to, bore you that much. But anyway, Supreme Court votes 6-3 to block Biden's vaccine mandate for private firms, and huge blow to the White House's COVID plan. The disappointed Joe will tell businesses to adopt rules anyway and say it's up to the states to do the right thing. All right, so real quick about that on the states to do the right thing. Currently, you have 3 states that have completely blocked mandates in their state, Texas being one of them where I'm residing. But Joe did immediately after this request that the businesses across the country still uphold the nature of the mandate anyway, even though it's not enforceable. Now, understand that there's been a few people that have wondered, can you do that? Well, you can. He can request that you do that, but he can't direct you. He can't order you to do so. And because that would be that would still be in violation of a Supreme Court ruling back in the 70s that prohibited the government from coercing or forcing companies to do something that's outside of their purview. So that and it is a good thing, because the whole thing was unconstitutional. Period. It's outside of the government's mandate to do that. The president cannot tell OSHA to do this kind of thing because of what it affects, and it's not the government's authority to do so. The court's Thursday decision will allow Biden's vaccine mandate for healthcare employees to facilities receiving Medicare and Medicaid funds to stay. Yes, because once again, that's a government thing, and therefore it is within the scope of the government's authority. More than 80 million U.S. workers would have been affected by the private rule. It's actually more than that. 80 million is a little bit different. It's a little bit that I believe 80 million is a little bit of a lowball number. I think it's close to 100 million. The decision to block Biden's private mandate fell 6-3. All liberal judges were against it. Biden faced a slew of setbacks in the last 48 hours, having just lost the fight to pass voting right legislations by scuttling the filibuster. I'll cover that a little bit here real quick for you. So he met with the Democrats in the Senate, and you still had two of them say that they weren't going along with it. So it's a dead issue, and they need to move on. And I went into a whole thing about a filibuster in the last show. If you want to check that out, go back, watch yesterday's show. I talk all about the filibuster. Conservative justice claimed Biden's rule would have presented a significant encroachment on the everyday lives of American workers. Because here's the problem, folks, and you all know this. If you give the government leeway to go and start doing something, they don't hardly ever retract it, if never. And once you do that, and once you leave the door open for them to do that, they can keep doing these things. And like I said, it was a great thing that what SCOTUS did today. In his opinion, Justice Gorsuch took a shot at White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain, who previously retweeted on MSNBC host, calling the rule a workaround. And that was one of the things, and that's why OSHA wasn't even happy with the deal, was because they said, well, we can't do a mandate across the board for every person in America, so we can get a percentage of them by doing this. And even the OSHA officials weren't happy with the way this was done, using OSHA as a way to work around restrictions that they were prevented from doing. Biden's rule for healthcare workers was allowed to stay in a 4-5 decision. Like I said, that's different. It's hospitals, it's retirement facilities, urgent care, stuff like that, where COVID is going to be just insanely prevalent. Not to mention the fact other people that have sicknesses that can kill them if they get sick. I kind of understand that one. Not to mention the fact the healthcare industry is regulated by the government pretty heavily, so I kind of understand that. I wouldn't have liked to have seen that, because I'm pretty sure the hospitals already making it mandatory is already a thing anyway. So they could have let that one go too. The hospitals actually have a stricter rule than what the OSHA guidelines were anyway. So I don't even know why that needed to stay. In September, Biden ordered companies with 100 more employees to impose vaccine mandates or set up weekly testing. Now, a lot of people are like, well, that put undue burden on individuals. It also put undue burden on a lot of these companies. They're not, unless you're a medical company, you're not set up for this kind of thing. You're not set up for testing of 100 plus employees. Okay. So at that point, it put a lot of burdens on companies, and it put burdens on people. And so now it's not going to be a thing. Okay. So now the companies don't have to do this. And so what did Biden do? He came out and asked the companies to go ahead and enforce it anyway. And then turned around, and Psaki repeated that. Psaki repeated that in her press conference today. Says Joe was very disappointed about it, but still asked the companies to uphold it. pretty much, I'm sure a lot of companies that have over 100 employees are going to tell you where to go stick yourself on that one. And if you're one of those people running around as a mindless zombie reciting everything that you're told, then and you have a problem that your company's not going to uphold this, then quit and go find another job at a company that will. Real simple. I've already seen people screaming all over the internet about it, and people have been sitting there going, well, if my company's not going to uphold this anyway, then I don't know if I could continue to work there. And then here's the deal. Don't post about it. Just fucking quit. Just walk out at that point. If that's going to be your stance, put up or shut up. And the thing is that's where I've gotten with a lot of this stuff, and the language that's going around is I'm getting to the point of telling people just put up or shut up. Simple. It's people's choice on what they want to do. And if you don't like it, stop being around them. It's real simple. Everybody makes it out to be, oh, it's so horrible and everything else. But the thing is you don't have to be around people. If you're walking down the street and you see somebody without a mask, then step away from them. Don't go walking by them and start a fight, because then guess what? Your ass is guilty if you get this shit. Real simple. They came up with guidelines on how to avoid this, and if you go find people that are violating your belief, then and you get the crap, then it's your fault. It's not anybody else's fault, it's yours. But I digress. So back to this whole situation, like I said, it's a good thing because it was going to be severe amount of government overreach, and you never get them out once they're in. You don't. And they say, well, it was only good. It was only there for COVID. Yeah, well, COVID, whatever the one of the month club is, and it's just no. Excuse me. Went down the wrong hole. I hate when that happens. So, and no, it's not. I don't have it. I already had it. I'm over it. So, like I said, it's a done deal. It's over with. Time to move on. I will say, if Biden requests that companies uphold it, which he has, it's not against the law for him to still request companies do it. It's up to them. They can turn around and tell the president where to stick himself, or they can. Now, I will tell you that if the government decides to start tracking the companies that aren't upholding or aren't doing the mandate as he requested, and they start going after these individual companies to coerce them into doing what he asked, that's illegal. So there you go on that. That's when it becomes illegal, is if the government starts penalizing companies for not doing what the president asked, then that becomes illegal. Okay. So in case any of you are wondering, well, how can we stop them from requesting or making all these statements and everything else? There's really nothing you can do until the government forces somebody to do something which would be against this ruling, and then poof, you have a case. All right. Are the COVID treatments racist for my next story, for the next story tonight? So one of the things I've been seeing as of late, are they racist? And I've been seeing, the funny thing about this is I'm starting to get to the point that the term that they keep using, where they keep screaming racist either every time they don't get their way, or when they think you're gonna suddenly feel guilty and sit down and shut up. It's really just the mating cry of the liberal. I'm starting to think that's what racist, when they start screaming racist, it's a mating cry. And I've noticed too, it's a whole lot of white liberals trying to tell people what's racist or not. How does that work? But on this, are the COVID treatments racist? Because that's been brought up a lot now. That's saying, well, black people are not getting the vaccine as much as white people are, and they're saying, well, that's proof it's racist. No, it's not proof it's racist, and here's the reason why: they're not getting the vaccine by choice. Okay, by choice. Everywhere you look, in every state, there is no problem with them being able to get a vaccine. There's no problem with the Hispanic community getting the vaccine. There's no problem with any of those communities getting a vaccine. It's the fact that they're not. And if you take a look at it right now, the people who have chose to get unvaccinated, 37%, was it out of like the 80 some odd percent that's been vaccinated, the ones that aren't, 37 to 40% is made up of the black community choosing not to get a vaccine. Okay, 37 to 40% of those who haven't gotten vaccinated. Okay, now the other ones, it's was it 20 some odd percent is female or pregnant females are kind of in their own category as the big numbers, but that's also broken down into different categories. In fact, white people are right in there with it. It's pretty even across. It's pretty close to an even spread of people choosing not to get the vaccine, and then you have a bunch of people who got the vaccine. But one of the problems that I have with this and the way that this is going, and it's rhetoric, it's just absolute bullshit rhetoric that it's absolutely racist. And what they're trying to do is say and get black people to come out to get the vaccine to beat this racist treatment. And it's because they're trying to get more of you to take the vaccine, and instead of giving you the option of the choice, they're trying to guilt you into it. Well, I'll go get the vaccine and prove and show these racist people. It's not racist. That's a lie. Okay, it's an absolute lie. Every single person, if they want a vaccine, can get a vaccine. They can get the boosters. Okay. Now, if you're in an area where the numbers are lower, you need to take that up with your city, and you need to take that up with your county, and you need to take that up with your state and find out why your area has less than others. But to say that the treatment outright is racist is a lie. It's an absolute lie, and there is literally no fact to back that. And the reason why I said that is I went through the CDC website, I went through the Department of Health websites, I went through, all of them. There is no proof to back up white people are intentionally getting the vaccine over black people. There is no proof of that. And I got to wait because I'm gone to zero. I might have been cut off. Okay, there. I got some. All right, so we're back. So there's no proof of this. Absolutely no proof of this. Okay, I have researched all day long. And everywhere that these people say that it's racist, I've went to their sources and the proof is still not there. So it's not racist. The treatments are not racist. None of this is. It's a lie. Absolutely every bit of it. And the worst part about it is now you've got them saying, because people are starting to not believe that the lie of it being racist, they're now starting to say things like, well, you know what? The ones that aren't getting the vaccines are white supremacists, misogynists, which, if a majority of the people choosing not to are black and also pregnant females in all races, then they're white supremacist and they're misogynist. It doesn't make any sense, does it? It really doesn't make any sense, but they keep changing the narrative because it's not working. And then what you have is states that are now openly on their government floors discussing internment camps or concentration camps. Let's just call it what they are. They're saying, oh, they're health and wellness facilities. No, they're concentration camps. You had Joy Reid out there talking about it, saying they should be locked up or they should be charged or anything like that. Okay, they're concentration camps is what they are. The way that they're talking, they want to freeze your assets, they want to take away your liberties, and then they want to charge you, and by the time they get done, they can seize everything you own and then end up dumping you on the street, so making you homeless. And I'm not making this up. Go to the state of New York's website on their and look at their dockets. Go to the state of Washington. Look up the dockets and the scheduling. These things are on there. They're discussing these things. It's not a lie. It's all right there for you to see it. And that's what they're doing. I never thought, and I'm sure if any of my relatives that fought in World War II were alive today, would believe that the United States of America is actually talking about creating internment camps or concentration camps. I mean, you thought we would have learned that lesson when we did that to the Japanese during World War II. I mean, I've been to Manzanar. I took the tour. I went through everything. I spoke to people who were there that were Japanese Americans that talked about those days. You'd think we would have learned our lesson, but now we're going back to it. And then on top of it, you've got, so between saying we're going to lock these people up, that they're white supremacists, terrorists, they're misogynists, they're this, they're that, they're this, and then you got the President of the United States making speeches about how the people who don't agree with him are the equivalent of the slave traders. Let's see, the president of the Confederacy. The list goes on and on and on. They're intentionally trying to get this country separated. The party that's supposed to be about unity and compassion and bringing everybody together is seriously trying to rip the country apart, and a lot of you are walking lockstep along with it. And you can't see the trees. You can't see the forest despite the trees. And you are running at 1,000 miles an hour at the forest. You don't understand this. They are playing you like a cheap Dollar Tree instrument. And the worst part about it is you don't see it. And the one thing I have to do, and I never thought in my life I would ever have to do this. I have to actually make an apology to Alex Jones. Because I thought he was a kook. I thought he was a conspiracy theorist. I thought he was just out there in left field. I actually have to apologize to Alex Jones because you know what? In the last year and a half, everything that he said was going to happen has happened. All of it. He's been right every single time. And that's sad when y'all are placating this so horribly that you've made Alex Jones credible. But then as I've actually started to watch some of his interviews on other people's shows, I kind of find out the man actually is a very smart man, and he knows what the hell he's talking about. And half the time when y'all think he's some conspiracy nut, it's actually you're taking his jokes out of context. Now, there's a couple things I disagree with the man. I don't agree with everything he says, but I apologize for saying this man was full of shit and didn't know what he was talking about, because he did. This shit's not, these treatments are not racist, people. There's no cost to get the vaccine. There's no cost to get the boosters. They're available. But people are choosing not to get it, and they're being called racist. And then they're telling people to try and convince them, to brainwash them to go get all this stuff done that they've chosen they don't want to do. And let me tell you something. If you've chosen to get the vaccine, that's your choice, and fine, do it. If that's your choice. But if you choose not to, they're going to try and brainwash you and guilt trip you into doing it by telling you bullshit in order to make you think you have to. One of the things that I saw today. I was watching Steven Crowder today. If you got vaccinated and you get Omicron, your likelihood of being hospitalized, 0, or next to 0. Likelihood of severe symptoms, next to 0. Right? If you're unvaccinated, you get Omicron, likelihood of hospitalization is next to 0. Severe symptoms, next to 0. They've been peddling this shit this entire time. And like for this case, and they're telling everybody, you need to go out and get vaccinated now because of the spike in Omicron. You've got researchers now saying on Twitter and all the other ones that the spike is going to go away as fast as it showed up. Are you guys putting this together? Because it doesn't require mental gymnastics to figure out this shit. It really doesn't. That's the strange part of this entire thing, watching people getting brainwashed doing this stuff. It doesn't take mental gymnastics to figure out the bullshit that's going on. Like I said, if you want to go out there and you want to get vaccinated, go for it. I'm not going to stop you, and I'm not going to tell you not to do it. But if they're trying to guilt trip you into it because you've made the choice and made the decision for yourself not to, then don't. Here's the other thing. I can't get the vaccine, but according to now what some of these people that are leading the sheep along the path, even the people who have medical exemptions, because I have a medical exemption not to get it, should be also locked up because we're a danger to society. I want one of you idiots on TV to tell me that to my face, and I'm just going to give you the finger. Because guess what? I would like to live. I don't understand how it is that the mental gymnastics that are being done in order to convince you, when you don't need to do the same gymnastics back in order to defeat it, or say no. Just say no. They used to tell us that back when we were in school. Just say no. Well, if you don't want to do it, if your choice is you don't want to, then just say no. When they call you a racist, laugh at them. See, and that's the thing y'all need to do when people start throwing at you're a racist, you're a white supremacist, you're a terrorist. Just laugh. Seriously, just laugh at them. That's what I've started doing. People are like, you're a racist. Okay, whatever. Don't care what your opinion is. And that's what you guys need to do. Stop. Those of you that want to start feeling guilty because you said something and then somebody calls you a racist, don't feel guilty. Just stop. You remember what they used to tell you when somebody was always picking on you? You turn around and if you don't give them any attention, eventually they get bored and go away. I don't know if these people get bored and go away, but eventually they will. Eventually, like, well, shit, this is not working. I guess we got to try something else. I mean, the worst part about it is with the left, we will scream the same thing over and over and over again and get people to comply to whatever the hell we say. But then when it stops working and people are like, just go away, then they change it and they start screaming something else and there becomes a new tagline. So, we probably got another couple months or two on this whole racist, white supremacist terrorist thing before it starts to fade off because they're bored with it. And then they'll go to something else to make you feel guilty about being a human being. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to happen. And every time they come out with this, I just laugh at them. I'm like, yeah, whatever. It's your opinion. I really don't give a shit about your opinion, but it's your opinion. You have a right to it. You can have an opinion. Everybody can have an opinion. Oh, it's fact. Oh, no, it's your fact. That doesn't make it a reality. Every time somebody turns around and starts saying this shit, I look right at them. I say, I understand what you're saying, and it sounds legitimate, except there's one fatal flaw in your argument. And they're like, what's that? This is Earth and reality, and it doesn't work like that here. Period. So, folks, don't buy into this horse shit that the COVID treatments are racist, and for Christ's sake, stop listening to those morons that keep screaming racist. 90% of the ones screaming racism are white people. And why do white people suddenly get to determine? Why is it the white people? Why is it the biggest screamers are white people telling black people what's racist? I still can't figure that out and why they're able to do that. And the worst part is watching people believe them. And the worst part about it is one of the biggest supporters and donors to BLM is a white dude. I mean, like, really? A very wealthy white dude, which by the rules should put him on the enemy list. At least that was the rules I was aware of as of last night. Those rules could have changed overnight. I don't know. They changed the goal. They changed the goalpost so much that you can never reach the finish line with them. Every time you start to reach the finish line, they change the rules again, and then it's a bunch of incoherent nonsense. And that's what it is. It's incoherent nonsense. So, folks, just here's the deal. Do what you can do to save yourself. Do what you can do to protect you. Okay? Don't try to ruin other people's lives. Just do what you can do to affect you. And if you see somebody out there without a mask on, don't go all freaking Karen and scream at them and get in their face. Just get yourself a little bit of distance. Get a little bit of distance and just ignore them. Just like for those of you who want to live your life the way you want to live your life, and you see these people and they decide that they're going to start screaming and yelling at you, walk away. It's really easy. I've had people screaming in my face about this shit, about not wearing a mask. I walked the fuck away. I didn't even respond to them. They go, and I just walk off. It's not difficult. It's really easy to do. Now, if they assault you, well, I'm not going to suggest to you what you should do, because that will definitely get me kicked off this channel. All right, let's move on from that, because, well, shit. How much more can I tell you about it, right? I could go on for hours about it. Is it really, really worth it? Because it's not. It's a stupid subject, and people are buying into a stupid subject. I mean, for those of you that honestly believe this, that these treatments are racist, you're an idiot. If you honestly believe what they're telling you, you're an idiot. I don't know how I can help you. That's literally the only thing I got for you. You're a moron. Because it's not. And there is no legitimate hard evidence that says it is. All right, so moving on to our next subject here. Virginia Beach Police Department. Whew, they got caught. Virginia Beach Police uses fake DNA tests to get confessions. Sometimes. Former law enforcement officer, I see these things and it kind of like, why? Why do you do this? If the evidence is strong enough, you can get a conviction. You don't need to make up shit to get people to do this. You just don't. I don't believe in it. I never believed in the practice of falsifying evidence in order to get somebody to cop to something because you can't get enough evidence. Look, I understand that when you're doing an investigation, you work your ass off. You know in your gut this person's the one that did it, but you can't get enough evidence to prove it. Then find evidence. Evidence exists. It exists somewhere. There is no such thing as a perfect crime. But when you have crime, victim, suspect, and you don't have suspect, and you have equal sign to conviction, and all you're focused on is conviction, then you're going to fuck it up. You have to do the entire equation in order, and you have to do it methodically and thoroughly in order to do it. You don't make shit up in order to get the results you want. You can't. Sometimes life sucks, and you want justice for people, and it's just not there in front of you immediately. And yes, you've got the pressure of people. Well, I want justice for my wife, my child, my brother, my sister, my mother, my father, whatever, my dog, my hamster. But the evidence is just not there at the moment. But it is there. It's always there. You just haven't found it yet. Making shit up to get the equation you want is garbage, and it's cheap and cheating, and you end up a majority of the time convicting the wrong person. and that person gets out, they sue you, and now you look like an asshole. Your whole department looks like shit, and nobody believes you anymore when you go to a DA and say, well, I've got all this, and the DA is going to look at it and go, how much of it is fabricated? It's stupid. Let's read the article. Virginia Beach, Virginia police used forged documents that linked people's DNA to a crime to get them to confess or cooperate with investigations. Virginia's outgoing attorney general announced on Wednesday the city's police department has changed its policy in the wake of the state probe. Attorney General Mark Herring said in a statement. In a separate statement, the city said it had ended its practices in May after conducting its own investigation, but called the tactic legal. It's not legal. It's not legal to put fake shit in front of somebody to get them to confess to a crime. It's called entrapment. Virginia Beach police serve a city of about 450,000 people along the state's coast. I have lived there. Officers use fake reports purporting to be from the Virginia Department of Forensic Sciences at least 5 times during interrogations between 2016 and 2020. Herring's office said the bogus pieces of paper, including a seal and a letterhead from the state agency. That's what makes this worse. Now, if it was a piece of paper where they just handwritten the DNA matches, I could kind of see an argument where it wouldn't be entrapment, but that's bullshit because it's still providing a person that's under interrogation the belief or reasonable suspicion in their mind that they may have committed a crime, even though they believe they didn't because, well, can you argue DNA? Well, you can, but do most people know this, especially in that moment? No. In 2 instances, the document included a signature of a fictitious employee from the department, and at least 1 instance, a forged report was presented to a court as evidence. That right there, somebody's going to be free. That person was convicted on that piece of evidence. That person will be free very shortly and has one hell of a lawsuit. And if I was bar certified in the state of Virginia, I'd take his case for 5% because I guarantee I'm winning it. And it's going to be a lot of money. Herring's office did not say whether the use of the forged documents would invalidate any confessions that were obtained as a result. Well, that's full of shit. Yes, it will. Or otherwise affect the cases in which they were employed. Yes, it will. I'm going to tell you right now. I don't know why he thinks that because I'm going to tell you it will affect it. This is an extremely troubling and potentially unconstitutional. It's not potentially unconstitutional. It is unconstitutional tactic that abused the name of the Commonwealth to try and coerce confessions. It is very unconstitutional. I don't know what. I don't even know where he consider go. It could be potentially. No, it is. He said that while he appreciates that the department stopped the practice and cooperated with our investigation, this is clearly a tactic that should have never been used. No shit. The strategy was discovered last year after a prosecutor asked the Department of Forensic Sciences to provide a certified copy of a document the police falsely claimed to provide I'm off on that one. Falsely claimed from the department. The AG's Office of Civil Rights launched an investigation and proposed a conciliation agreement to stop the practice and reform the department's policies. Okay. It's against the law. You cannot do that. The closest you can get to lying in an interrogation is when you sit there and look at somebody and go, I know you killed him, or I know you stole it. I know you did this. You can sit there and say, I got evidence. That's not entrapment. But when you provide official documentation stating something that is a complete and outright lie to coerce a person in order to confess to a crime, that's called entrapment. It is illegal. It is a violation of somebody's constitutional rights. every single case that involved them doing this, all 5 of them, are going to get reviewed. And more than likely, unless the preponderance of evidence against the individual is still so much that even removing that cannot change it, they're going to get overturned. I will guarantee you that appeals are dropping right now. Appeals are coming out. And the bad part about it is because of this, because of the police department, every single investigation they've ever done comes under scrutiny for the history of the police department. Not just a couple years. Okay? For the entirety of the police department, because the police department allowed this to happen. It's not just a supervisor said, hey, let's try this and see if it works. The department itself authorized the procedure, so now the department itself is in question. The integrity of the police department is now in question. You can't do these things. You can't. It is illegal. It is unconstitutional to do this. The Virginia Beach Police Department is going to lose their ass on this. And I hope that the idiots who came up with this idea get let go. Who put the police department in this kind of a jeopardy gets released. And I hope that once they overturn the convictions, that they turn around and sue the shit out of those officers that did this. I will not stand for law enforcement blatantly breaking the law. As a law enforcement officer, you are held to a higher standard. I was told that when I went to school to become a police officer. I was told that by the people that were my supervisors. As a law enforcement officer, you are held to a different standard. And the reason why you're held to a different standard is because you understand the law better than the common man. You know this is entrapment. In fact, every law enforcement officer has to go through a stint of con law. It's not a very long one, but they at least go over the Constitution and a basic breakdown of the individual rights. You have to do that to go when you certify. Which Nevada is a post 2 or post 1 and 3. I don't know what any of the other states are, but you have to. It's part of the curriculum of certifying to be law enforcement. How you did not understand this when you did this upsets me greatly. You should never do this. I cannot, like I said, for the life of me, I cannot understand how it is that they did this. Now I know I've got people that watch this and go, well, it's the cops. They do all kinds of illegal shit. I'm not even going to get in that discussion with you people because I know a lot of law enforcement, and no, you would be wrong. But folks, one thing that I stress to everybody in this world is the Constitution is there for you to read and understand. And one of the things is if you get arrested and you're taken into an interrogation room, you have a right to have an attorney present. If you decide you're going to be in there without an attorney, God help you. And if you try to say, well, I'm broke, guess what? They have to give you one for free. May not be the greatest attorney in the world, but at least you have some representation. Don't try to fight these battles alone. It's stupid. It does not cost you to get a court-appointed. Sorry, my computer decided at this moment it wanted to try and do a update restart. Do not try to do this alone. Get a representative. I couldn't believe when I read that story today that actually happened. I just could not believe it. I can understand it if they don't teach you the people's constitutional rights, but they do. They teach you that, and it doesn't make any sense. Like today is just full of stupid people. You know, besides the SCOTUS making the right damn decision, a lot of other things I looked up today just filled with stupidity. Law enforcement forging information, people trying to tell you that getting a medical treatment that is completely free and available for you is racist. What the fuck is this world coming to? I just don't understand it. But like I said, stick with. I want you to turn around and do this. Going up, I hear the mating call of a liberal. I'm dead serious. That's what I believe that is now. That just screaming racist is the mating call of a liberal. Start using that now when they start calling you racist, going, look, I don't want to mate with you, so do not use your mating call on me. Doesn't work. And just look at the confusion in their face. I would love for you guys to show me a picture when somebody calls you a racist and you say that to them, the look on their face. Now, unfortunately, tonight we do have some sad news, and I found out about this yesterday, and the thing was, it's actually been up for about 2 days, but you know, for those of you who know me, know how big I am into music. I was a DJ on radio for 8 years. Music's a big part of my life. It always has been. But we found out the other day that we lost Ronnie Spector. Now, for those of you who don't know who Ronnie Spector is, Ronnie Spector, she was the lead singer of the Ronettes back in the day. She came out. They had some great songs. A lot of you are going to know "Be My Baby." For those of you a little bit, you remember when Eddie Money passed away, one of the songs that they played was the "Be My Little Baby" by Eddie Money, where Ronnie did a collaboration with him where she's the one that sings "Be My Little Baby." Kind of Eddie's tribute to the Ronettes song, his own way. But let's see, I do have a bit of the articles here, or at least one of them. The music world has lost a legend. Ronnie Spector, lead singer of the iconic 60s girls group, the Ronettes, has died at the age of 78. This happened on January 8th. Our beloved Earth Angel Ronnie peacefully left this world. Today, after a brief battle with cancer, she was with her family, and she died in the arms of her husband, Jonathan. That was the statement from Ronnie's official website. Ronnie lived her life with a twinkle in her eye and a spunky attitude and a wicked sense of humor and a smile on her face. She was filled with love and gratitude. On my computer, I have quite a bit of the Ronettes music on there. It's great music, has just an amazing soul to it. It sounds wonderful. I've got some pictures here. This was one of the photos that was done when she did with Eddie Money. This is her more recent photo of her right here. And, of course, this was her back on stage. Her husband, Jonathan, understand, the other day, if you guys were waiting for it. The other day, if you saw the one about the Phil Spector died at the age of 81, Phil Spector was her ex-husband. He's the one that shot the actress in the mouth, and they botched the first trial and were able to convict him on the second trial, and he got life in prison and died in prison last week, I believe it was, or the week before. Unfortunately, he was extremely abusive to her. She ended up going down a dark road of depression, alcoholism. Throughout her life, when she finally divorced, a little while later, she met her husband, Jonathan. Jonathan really worked with her to get her out of the alcoholism and the other problems she had, and really helped her get her music career back on track. She was a very successful solo artist. And so really put her back into it. I got lucky enough to see one of her performances a couple years back. Amazing artist, even at that age, could still belt it out like she was like she did when she first started. She was a wonderful person. She did a meet and greet after the show, and I got a chance to see her and shake her hand and tell her that you haven't lost a single step in all these years. And she really smiled and she said, thank you. Wonderful person. And so tonight we honor Ronnie. Ronnie Spector died age 78. All right, ladies and gentlemen, once again, folks, if you like the show tonight, that is our show tonight, because I do have to get out of here shortly. I have a meeting that I have to go to tonight. Once again, you saw that. I'll even pop it up for you again if you missed it. If you like the show, please click the subscribe button. Click the bell so you get the notifications for me to come up. And every time I come on, you'll get a notification I'm there. Click the like button and share this with everybody. I'm pretty sure it'll probably get you a good 72-hour ban on Facebook for it. So, folks, without further ado, we're going to sign off for the night. Hope you guys had yourselves a good one. I hope you enjoyed the show. We got to give some, we definitely got to say thank you and give some credit to our sources. But folks, while you're out there, don't do anything I wouldn't do, which that doesn't leave you much room for error. Have yourselves a wonderful night, and we'll see you on the other side. Good night.